So, hello everyone, welcome back to our podcast POMALO. Today we have a special guest who came all the way from Belgium, Nikolas. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Matas. Glad to be here in Aspira. I'm here on the invitation of Mr. Josip Radic, who is organizing an international staff week.
Amazing.
And the field of, for myself, sports management, which is quite unique that we have this opportunity to meet all kinds of colleagues in the world that have those courses in sports management. And I also took the liberty of giving a class here for the international students on the topic of doping law.
Yes, exactly. So today we'll be talking and touching up a little bit about doping in sports. So we could start by that. So doping, could you tell me more about it? What is it all about?
Yeah, doping, it's a bit the dark side of sports because we all love sports. We're all very passionate about sports. It's competition sports, but we want it to be fair competition. And the problem with doping is it makes the sport more unfair.
Yeah, exactly.
It gets away the level playing field. It gives an advantage that's not good to somebody. So it has to be banned from sports. But it's not easy. It's doping has a long history. A history of man, a history of doping, and the law is battling against it, like many institutions are doing, like the WADA, and countries and athletes and federations also are.
Of course. Yeah. So the biggest one would be probably Russia, the banning of the whole country from Olympics. Could you touch it a bit?
Yeah, it's a delicate question. The ban of Russia, because there's different sides to that story. On the one hand, you have the fact that in Russia there was more like a doping culture, and that probably that doping was organized or at least stimulated in some kind of way by the authorities. So that resulted in a very high medal standings for Russia at the Olympic Winter Games in Sochi. So I think on the one hand, it is good and fair to ban Russia. But on the other hand, you have the individual athletes, the Russian athletes that are clean and pure, and they also got punished. And that is a delicate situation, because in punishing a whole country, you are also punishing the good and honest athletes.
Of course. Someone who dedicates their whole life to a sport and having it stripped away with no big competitions, that should be really tough. And what do you think? Is there a connection between a person using and his team in sports? Are they usually connected, or is it usually one man's job?
That is an excellent question, and it has also led to a whole lot of controversy. You see, we have to know a bit of our history. 1998 was the doping tour. It was the biggest scandal at that time in doping history ever, the Tour de France, where almost half of the teams were kicked out of the Tour de France. And there, as we saw, the teams were organizing the doping. So it has happened. But it's not always the case. Sometimes it's really the individual who is organizing the doping. And sometimes it's even not the individual, it's parents or coaches. Like we've seen with a Russian girl, Kamila Valieva, the ice skating girl. She was maybe 14, 15 years old. It's impossible for such a young girl to use doping. But if her father did it or the coach did it, it's the athlete who gets the ban.
Following the footsteps. So Could you maybe touch up on types of doping that lingers around the sports?
Yeah, there are many types of doping. You know, you have, of course, you have the enhancing substances, like anabolic steroids. You know, when people use anabolic steroids, it gives them muscle building advantage. They create extra muscles very fast. But there's also other kinds of doping like EPO, which is very hard, very strong doping product in endurance sports. Like if you want to run or you want to cycle for a long time, then it's EPO that you're using. So the type of doping you use, it's different. It depends on what kind of sports you're into and what is your aim for the doping.
Exactly.
But there's also even the use of one's own blood can be doping. If you get your own blood and you inject yourself with it later on, it also increases your oxygen capacity. So there are many types of doping.
Amazing. And maybe more interesting, which is the most unique way you heard of a athlete doping?
Oh, there are many crazy stories. You know, you have you cannot imagine ways that people use doping, and sometimes they say, "Oh, you know, I got it when I ate a steak in the steak restaurant, and the steak was contaminated." And others say, "Oh, you know, I got it accidentally when I took my dog's medicine." It also happens. And maybe one of the most crazy excuses we ever heard was from I believe it was an Italian football player, who said, "I got it while I was making love with my wife. She had used a certain cream, and I got it like that." So people are thinking all kinds of excuses on how they get doping. But most of the time, the doping officials, they don't buy it.
Yeah, of course.
They get
super strict. And during, from all the ages, from like 90s to now, do you think a lot has changed for doping? Has it increased, decreased?
Yes and no. It's, you know, the world of doping is a very hard world to get a real clear view on, because it's a dark world. It's a bit a criminal world.
Of course.
It's an dishonest world, so you will never get maximum information. It's always a bit on a dark level. But has it changed? Well, yes and no. No, in the ways that people are still trying to find new and creative ways to cheat on doping, because some types of doping cannot be used anymore because it's easy detected nowadays.
Yeah.
But has it changed? Yeah, I think it has become much more scientifically than it was. Now we have scientists on the one side monitoring doping, but on the other hand, we have also scientists administrating doping, organizing doping, doctors monitoring blood levels, steroid levels, and there, you know, they look where is the limit scientifically. What can we do without crossing the line, or what can we do without getting caught? And you see, doping is a cat and mouse game. You know, one tries to step, and I think if you ask me one big difference, it's much more scientific than it used to be.
And it's really dangerous, doping, overall. The things that can do to your health, could you talk about that as well?
Yes, that's indeed, you know, doping is not something without danger.
Of course.
It's never without danger. In fact, there are no doping products that are harmless to the body, because the body is a a living organism. It is built through natural evolution and perfected that way to be here on Earth in this environment and all these types of conditions. And we have a system in our body that is self-regulating. Mm-hmm. This is very important. Our body regulates itself, hormone levels, blood levels, oxygen levels. It's all self-regulating. Mm-hmm. And if you use doping, you are always pushing your body to one side. And your body, it will always push you back. Yeah. And that means it can cause illness, it can cause heart disease, it can give you all kinds of medical issues if you use doping. Mm-hmm. Certainly if you use it a lot, yeah, or if you use it wrong. Like without medical supervision, we've had people dying. And I think the most iconic person that's a bit history, is Tom Simpson. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you heard of him. Tom Simpson was...
Tell us more. Tell us more.
Tom Simpson was a British cyclist. Mm-hmm. And he was very popular. And he was in the Tour de France. He was climbing the most dangerous mountain with his bike. And at a certain moment, he fell off his bike. Mm-hmm. And the crowd... They put him back on his bike. They say, keep going. And he kept going. And then he fell again. And he died. And at his body, they found the doping products. He had them with him. Mm. So it was the first time that the audience understood doping can kill even a person. Yes. And he has there's still a monument on the Mont Ventoux in France for him. Many cyclists know it.
Crazy. And what do you think? What's the future of doping? Is it gonna be better or not?
Now that's a difficult question because I cannot predict the future.
Exactly.
But if you ask my opinion, the science is here again a big question. Mm-hmm. Are scientists nowadays creating doping products that cannot be detected? It's a question. Yeah. If we look at cycling nowadays, cyclists nowadays go faster than they did in the doping years. It's strange, don't you think?
Yeah, it is.
It's strange. And there's a second thing, it's not only about products anymore, but it's also about the question, can you engineer the human body? And is this allowed to engineer the human body? And the WADA, the World Anti-Doping Agency, they have already taken action in that way that they have already forbidden what is called genetic enhancement, genetic doping, so that your DNA is changed in order to, let's say, stimulate your oxygen productions or increase your muscle build. Yeah. I'm not saying it's possible already, but they think it might become possible, and it's already forbidden.
Crazy. So a future without doping is probably not possible.
No, I think we have to be realistic, of course. I think it's important there are rules. Yeah. I think it's important that people are tested equally in all countries, in all sports federations, and that there is a good chance that if you do it too much, you will get caught.
Of course. Thank you so much for your time. I don't know, maybe a couple of words to our audience before we say goodbye.
Matas, it was a pleasure to be here. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much.
And I hope you enjoyed it a bit.